Hello and welcome to a very special edition of Now Playing here from GameSpot UK in our London studio. I'm joined today by Paul Coleman, who is the Senior Game Designer over at Codemasters Racing Studio. Welcome to the show, Paul.
Thanks.
You've brought in DiRT today. You're going to show us a little bit about it, the new rally races, the new Gymkhana elements. I should mention that in our studio there's a little bit of building work happening outside, so apologies if that noise becomes intrusive, but I guess it makes it a little bit more extreme.
A bit more. Yeah, it's all in the nature of rally. Yeah.
So Paul, tell us, before we get into the game proper, just tell us a little bit about your overall aims for DiRT. What was the mission you sort of set out to achieve with DiRT?
Okay, so the first thing to remember is we went straight from Dirt 2 into Dirt 3, and it gave us the opportunity to look at how people were playing the game. We took telemetry data from Dirt 2, we saw the things that they were enjoying, the things that they weren't enjoying, read the forums, listened to the feedback, and the overriding theme was that people wanted more rally. So we looked at what we could do with that. We've got a lot of experience with rally in the past, so we brought 60% of the game's content and made it rally. And on top of that, while we were developing Dirt 2, we saw Ken Block was making his Gymkhana videos. Those Gymkhana videos were becoming global phenomenons, and we were quite upset actually that we couldn't introduce them into Dirt 2 in time. So it was another really important feature that we wanted to introduce. So we got Ken into the studio, he consulted with us, showed us what we needed to do. And yeah, we're really proud to have Gymkhana in the game, and one of the first games to represent it properly as an actual event.
So it's a return to rally. You've got new Gymkhana elements. The first race that you're going to show us here is Michigan, which is a rally stage, and obviously it's a new location for the Dirt series. Tell us what attracted you to Michigan.
Yeah, well, as we were going through the possible rally locations, we obviously went to the fan favourites, the areas that are recognised for rally, such as Finland, Kenya, Norway. But Michigan is one of the most highly regarded events on the North American calendar. We've actually elected to do the autumnal version of it because we already had snow stages from Norway, so you get the nice autumnal leaves, the lovely colour palette, but it's a great sort of mix of tarmac and gravel surfaces, so this is probably our most predominant tarmac surface in the game. You'll actually see the car that I'm racing here has got the tarmac setup on, so the big rims, the lowered suspension, and yeah, it's a beautiful area next to Lake Superior, so it was really an opportunity for us to show the fans an alternative area where rally takes place that they might not be familiar with, unlike the Grand Prix of Scandinavia, which is Finland, the snow stages of Norway, and the beautiful safari rally in Kenya.
All right, so Paul, let's jump into the first race, which is Michigan. Just tell us, this is a single race that we're jumping into, not the career mode?
Yeah, we've gone with a single race here so that we can show you a snapshot of some of the rally stages. This is one of the longer rally stages, and it'll give me a bit of an opportunity to talk a bit more about the rally aspect of the game. So yeah, we're here in the service area ready to go. You know, players can adjust their difficulty and assist settings here. They can set up the vehicle, they can look at the people they're going to be racing against, but we'll just go straight into the race. Okay, so on the start line you can see a 90s rally car in front of us there. That was the Lancia Delta Integrale leaving the line. I'm driving a Ford Escort RS Cosworth. These are really iconic rally cars from the 90s era. It was the era when Group B rally had been banned, and these were the cars that were starting to sort of take up the mantle, and really these were when the cars were starting to get quick again, and they are the spiritual successor, sorry, of the current WRC cars that we see competing today.
So you guys have focused a lot on getting more and more vehicles into the game, which is a personal highlight for you in terms of Dirt 3.
Well, actually, although I'm not driving it at the moment, the Lancia Delta Integrale, I've been saying it in a lot of interviews. Actually, it is definitely a favourite of mine. My dad had one when I was younger, and being half Italian, it's a great car and one of the most successful rally cars of all time. So definitely something to aspire to owning at some point. They're beautiful cars, and this whole era of rally was fantastic. Really close competition within the drivers and the teams, and there was a good variety of cars in this era as well. Of course, it was also when Colin McRae made his name. You know, he won the championship in 1995 in the Subaru Impreza, which we've also got in the game. So it's a really nice representation of rally. As you can see there, I just changed surfaces from tarmac to gravel. Michigan is actually one of our more tarmac heavy stages, so I'm actually running a tarmac setup, which means that driving on these gravel sections here is actually a bit more tricky. There's less friction, so I've got to nurse the car through those sections, and then I can really sprint on the tarmac sections.
Tell us a little bit about the research that goes into making the Dirt Series, because I know you've driven some of these vehicles in real life, but do you have to visit the locations as well?
Yeah, our level design team and our artists sort of go out, the people who are going to be responsible for making the Michigan track, they'll go out with cameras and they'll get a hire car and they'll spend 3 days driving around the location, taking photos of not just big landmarks like the lighthouse we just drove past, but also things like stones on the ground, just to get a really in detail picture of what the environment looks like. We look at the roads, we look at the layout, like lakes and stuff, and we sort of get an idea of the geographical locations of stuff, but it's up to our level designers to then create fun tracks through these environments. So the first thing they do when they get back is actually put a white box track together, which is essentially just a spline in Max, and then we'll start play testing that and making sure that there's no really challenging corners in there or anything that's just unfair on the player. At that time, they'll start putting in what are essentially billboards so that the artists know what features they should be coming up to. So here, there'd have just been a picture of those chimney stacks. But then as the artists then take hold of the track, they go away, they develop it up, they start building these features and as individual assets and placing them in the environment. So it's a labour-intensive job, and the tracks that we make we're really proud of because they're really high fidelity. You know, sometimes you just want to stop the car and get out and run around in these environments. I think they'd be definitely high enough quality to play a first-person shooter in these kinds of environments. So we're really proud of how these rally tracks work and how they play, and I think rally fans are going to be really excited by what we've done for them here.
So you did pretty well there. Came in fourth.
Yeah, fourth place is a bit disappointing really, but having to chat away while driving, I wasn't really able to focus on nailing those apexes. So yeah, the real.
It was my fault asking questions.
Well, it's okay. I'm sure the guys on the forums will have something to say about my technique there, but they'll have to forgive me for the lack of driving prowess.
So tell us about one of the features that has generated a lot of buzz from what I've been reading, the YouTube button down at the bottom there. Mm-hmm. So you can upload short clips to YouTube and almost become kind of the new Ken Block.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Ken inspired us to put this feature in. Knowing that we were going to put Gymkhana into the game, it made absolute sense to take the element that Ken uses to make his Gymkhana videos mean so much to the wider world, and that is the YouTube upload, and empower the player and give them that opportunity to do it. So by just allowing them to go from a replay at any point, hit the YouTube button, choose a start and end point, and then upload that directly to their YouTube channel and to ours. We're giving players the chance to show off our game to their friends. They can send it to their mates on Facebook, for example, and friends of theirs who might not have ever seen Dirt 3 or have heard of it will start to inquire about it, and we can see it as being a really great way of spreading the word about this game, because we're really proud of what we've done here, and we want people to really feel like they've got something really special and they want to show off what they're doing in it. So, taking clips of sections in rallies, great fun. I've been doing that this week. You might see some of that stuff going online later on. But Gymkhana is where it was really inspired from, stringing together a really nice series of tricks and showing that on YouTube is just great fun.
So are you limited in any way as to how much content you can upload? Is it kind of 30-second clips?
Yeah, we've gone with a 30-second clip because realistically we don't want people creating full replays of entire stages. We want them to focus on the highlights of their runs. Real avid fans can take maybe 5 or 6 of their uploads, splice them together and actually put together a full stage run if they want to do that. It's something that we can perhaps look at in the future, but for now we just wanted to focus on the really high quality aspects. So a big crash, some awesome tricks, a really nice section of corners, all that kind of stuff is what we've really gone for in Dirt 3.
Okay, Paul, so I think it's time to jump into another race now. What's the second stage that you're going to show us? Okay,
so I think we'll go into a Rallycross race from here, and that will allow us to have a look at some of the multi-car racing, and show you a little bit of the sort of pack racing that we've got going on.
So the feedback from fans really was that they enjoyed the rally. That was the thing that they enjoyed the most. So kind of getting back to that in Dirt 3 has been a...
Definitely. Well, I think it was more the fact that we'd perhaps not had as much rally content as they were used to when they bought our games, so many fans were disappointed with that. When we actually looked at the telemetry data of what people were playing in Dirt 2, however, we found that Rallycross was really popular, so we haven't shortchanged the Rallycross fans. The Rallycross fans have their tracks in there, and there's plenty for them to enjoy and experience. So, and
the LA Coliseum makes a return, Battersea as well.
Yes, we've got Battersea for our Gymkhana. For Rallycross, we've got LA Coliseum, Aspen, and Monaco, so the Monaco harbour. So LA Coliseum is a nice mix of tarmac and gravel, so I'll show it off to you. I think it'll be the first time that it's been seen again. So
great, okay.
A bit of an exclusive.
Cool. One of the things that's I guess the Dirt series and Codemasters racing games in general are known for are their kind of front end screens, their loading screens. You've gone for a different style this time around. What was it? What's the inspiration there?
Yeah, well, with Dirt 3, we're essentially creating an evolution from Dirt 2. We want the player to feel like they've grown up a bit, that they're a professional motorsports driver. They're no longer an amateur living in a beaten-up RV. So what we've done is we've taken that professional feel and we've applied it to the art style of the game. So the menus are stylized, that they actually have a bit more in common with Dirt 1 perhaps, but we found that having the car in the environment has given us the opportunity to do these great loading shots, have the car doing some cool stuff in the main menus, and it just gives us a new, more professional feel to the game, and that's why we took that quite big step away from the festival feel that we had going on in Dirt 2.
That presumably allows you to move through menus a little bit faster.
Yeah, I think that was one of the reasons why we did it, was because the community had been saying that they were fed up of having to look around when they got back from a race and then go back into the RV and then choose their next race and come back out again. So we've streamlined the process a bit, and what it actually means is that sometimes the loads feel a little bit longer because you're actually watching the car more than before, where we actually had the loading masked a little bit by the Indiana Jones flight sequence as you went across the world map. But realistically, who doesn't like looking at a beautiful car as you're ready to go into a race? So that's why we've done it. All
right, so we're in Rallycross, LA Coliseum.
Yep.
Let's have a look.
Cool. So I've chosen to drive a Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 10. There's one of these that competes in the British Rallycross Championship at the moment. So we're inside the LA Coliseum Stadium itself here. I'm going to try and work my way through the pack without getting too aggressive with these other drivers. You can lean on them a bit, but they'll come knocking too if you're too aggressive with them. So we've tweaked our AI again, so they are more responsive. They definitely don't like getting hit. They'll have, I wouldn't describe it as a revenge attack, but they'll definitely get aggressive with you if you start bouncing into them. So I'm going to try and keep it clean, work my way through the pack as we go through these 3 laps.
This is another mix of gravel and tarmac.
Yeah, so we're on the tarmac section here. This is actually Exposition Park outside the LA Coliseum Stadium. So yeah, we're just working our way through the sort of service roads and stuff that allow fans to actually get into the stadium. So here we're cutting back onto the gravel surface. There you saw an AI spin out. So we've got these moments where the AI will lose control in front of you. What that'll actually mean is that you might not always have to overtake 3 cars to actually get up into the lead. Some guy might actually make an error in front of you. They also are prone to having tyre blowouts and retirements from engine malfunctions. So all of that stuff's introduced to make the race feel more lively, and to give the player the sensation that they're not just racing against mindless drones. We have got a good AI resource in the studio, and they make sure that the drivers feel as lifelike as possible.
One question that I think a lot of people will be wondering is, flashback rewind features. It was something that was introduced way back in Grid, and it's almost become like a feature of the racing genre, like an expected feature now. They do feature in Dirt 3.
Yeah, absolutely. We've brought them back once again. We've actually increased the buffer now, so you can actually have a longer time to flashback. What we found is that actually playing in the studio, we often use the flashback feature as a way of improving our line through corners. So when you're trying to get ahead of a really fast AI driver and you make a mistake on a corner, he'll pull away by maybe half a second to a second, and you can just see him vanishing into the distance. So what better time to flashback than that? It just allows you to make up that gap. In fact, I might do that a little bit down this section here. So I'm going to rewind here. We'll see there that I actually let off the throttle a little bit. I was pretty close to him, and I bottled it off this jump. So I'll hit the flashback button. We'll go back into the race, and hopefully I can be a bit more aggressive through this tunnel section and make sure that I keep in touch with him. I've run a bit wide actually. It was all
all for naught. Really.
All for naught. Well, we got a little nudge in there, so I'm gonna have to do something pretty last ditch to get past this guy actually.
It seems as though, it seems as though the races in this are fairly, they're doing fairly well. Put it that way. What level are you playing at?
Yeah, so I'm playing at the default for the advanced level, which is level 5. We've got 6 levels in the game. So a novice player can put the game on casual, and actually they'll have all the assists turned on by default. The AI will be driving around pretty slowly at a fairly leisurely rate, and what that means is that they can actually get to grips with Dirt 3. We found a lot of people were struggling with the core handling in Dirt 2, so we introduced all these assists to enable those newcomers to really enjoy themselves without feeling frustrated at the get-go, and then actually start turning those assists off, start increasing the difficulty, and start feeling the game as we'd intended it with our advanced physics engine in there. So,
and with damage as well.
Yeah, damage. At all times in the game, you can choose to play with visual damage only. But those hardcore guys out there that want to experience tyre blowouts, want to feel that risk of if they touch a wall too much, then they'll start getting steering problems. If you start ramming other drivers, you'll blow your radiator. That might not affect you immediately, but once the radiator runs out of steam, to coin a phrase, it'll actually start affecting the engine, and you'll get this damage proliferate through the race, and eventually your car will be down about 35-40 brake horsepower by the end of the race. So there is cause and effect, definite consequences to your actions if you've got the damage turned on. And we want those sim fans to still get that effect when they're driving, as well as allowing casual players to just get into those races and enjoy themselves.
Great stuff. All right, so let's look at the third event that you're going to show now. What are we jumping into next?
Cool. So we'll go into a Gymkhana attack now. So this is something that we haven't shown. It's actually a challenge mode that we've put into the career. So as you go through the career, you work your way through seasons. Within those seasons, there are championships, and then within those championships, there are events. As you do well in those events, you'll get invited to a challenge, which is essentially a sponsor event. These guys want you to do something special in the car. A lot of them are hinged around Gymkhana, but we also have some drift-based challenges that are set on rally tracks and trailblazer tracks as well. But what it means is that players don't always have to win races. They can actually just go out there and enjoy themselves, and essentially go out, do stuff with the car that doesn't mean winning. It's more about precision driving and having fun. So that's the kind of stuff that we're going for. So with these challenges, you're given the car. There's no car choice in this.
Right.
It's medal based, so getting a platinum medal is essentially beating one of our best guys in the studio. A bronze is enough to just get a pass. So as you watch the clock run down, you'll actually notice that the medal goes from platinum to gold. But with the drift challenges, as you rack the score up, it'll be going bronze, silver, gold, so you'll see that clocking up in the top right-hand corner of the screen.
I'm right in thinking that these challenges are provided by real-world kind of brands. I mean, in the universe of the game, DC has gone in and bought the Battersea Power Station and kind of set it up as this amazing Gymkhana setup for rally drivers. Right?
Yeah, so the premise is that DC are sponsoring you to be a driver, and while you go off and race for other teams, you're a DC athlete. So in much the same way that Ken Block drives the Monster World Rally team, there's still very much a DC interest in there. So DC have signed you up as a driver, and it's DC who are offering you these challenges throughout the game. Within the game, we've got advisors that are offering you advice throughout the game. We've got a business manager who's all about getting you through to the next race and getting you to the next season and getting you to that final at the end of the game. Whereas your fan-based consultant, he's more about sidetracking you, getting you to do Gymkhana stuff, practicing in the compound and doing these speed runs. So yeah, I'll do a quick run here. This is quite simply a checkpoint challenge. I'll move to the outside of the car so you can actually see what's going on. So I'm just hitting gates here. I'm just trying to get through them as quickly as I can. You'll find actually that as you get better at these, you'll start using Gymkhana moves to slide your way around these gates to find the quicker line and get the tighter apex.
We've got some ghost.
So yeah, the ghost up in front is one of the guys from the studio. It's a reasonable time. It's definitely beatable. Obviously, I'm not doing a great job of beating him here today.
Good to show the ghost, though. You're doing it intentionally, I'm sure, to stay behind.
You can definitely get an idea of how quickly you can go through these stages. So in the career, I'd be getting a medal here. As it is, it's just a time because we're in the time trial section. So this is a speed run. It's pretty simple fry, but we like it. We think it's a nice way of reusing this Battersea compound area without just using it for solid Gymkhana practice. You know, we've set up these little events in this area and around the rest of the game just to give players something else to do other than winning races and Gymkhana in a freestyle manner.
So I just want to pick up on one of the points that you mentioned there. Once you start playing Gymkhana, you find, or you found at the studio at least, that you end up using Gymkhana-esque techniques in the rest of the disciplines.
Definitely. Well, if you look at how Ken Block got into Gymkhana and the reasons why he did it, there's no tarmac rallies in America. So he actually used Gymkhana as his way of practicing control of a four-wheel drive car on tarmac. And as we were playing Gymkhana in the studio, we found that we were throwing the car around and using weight shift to get it into tricks. But then you find yourself doing it as you drive into hairpins and tight corners on the rally stages. So there's definitely this feeling that getting better at Gymkhana makes you better at rally, and then getting better at rally transfers back into Gymkhana. When we did our Battersea event, we had Mikko Hirvonen there, and you know, he was already very good at Gymkhana considering he'd never really done it before. So you know, that was fantastic to see, and it proves that these rally drivers, they are very talented people and they can just jump in a car and make it do what they want. So yeah, we're really proud that reflects in the game and the way that it works, and we're really happy with the outcome.
It's worth mentioning that these videos are still available online of Ken Block's Gymkhana runs. I certainly wasn't familiar with them until I sort of, you know, started doing previews of Dirt 3, and it's, you know, he's advised you on the game as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's consulted with us. When we actually started putting the Gymkhana handling together, he came in and played it for a good 6 hours. There was a couple of pointers that he left us with. He went away for a couple of months. We refined the system, brought some new technology into the physics system just to help with how the car settles and drifts. And yeah, he came back and he was really happy. He gave it his seal of approval, and we've just built from there. So he loves the compound. It is a fictional area that we've created, but I'm sure he'd love to be able to, you know, get a bunch of diggers in and create his own personal area rather than having to use areas that are essentially predefined by the location that he's choosing.
All right, Paul. So what's the fourth section that you're going to be showing us today?
So yeah, this is another one of these DC challenges. This is actually a Gymkhana sprint. So the aim with this is to do a sequence of tricks as quickly as possible. We're going to drive around the compound doing tricks in order. You'll notice that there's some Gymkhana OSD elements showing me how far I've got in completing a trick. Once that trick's complete, I can then move on to the next one. So this is all about precision driving, but speed as well. So making sure that we do a good run quickly and get through the tricks cleanly and efficiently. So again, we're in Battersea. Again, we're in that first area of the compound. But you'll see that this is a bit more tricky because I'm having to do jumps, I'm having to nail spin dryers, donuts, drifts. They're all being thrown at the player, and they've just got to see what's coming up next, drive for it, and then perform that trick. So the aim of these challenges is to give you that sensation of wanting to come back and keep trying to get that platinum medal and better your last time. So here you'll see I'm going over a jump here, I'm coming into a spin dryer straight away. So you've just got to dab the handbrake, get it unsettled and spin around. You can see the ghost's already driving away from me. So quick drift around the back of that digger, then I'm going to smash these blocks here. Now I'm coming up to another donut behind this pipe here. A nice tight line around there gets me to do the donut quite quickly. Again, through these smashes as we come under this bit of scaffolding here, and then a drift under the trucks. And then I'm coming out to another donut around these barrels. So again, trying to keep it nice and clean around the barrels there. and then I'm heading off for the jump, which is actually the end of the run. So nice, simple little 45-second runs. You've got every aspect of Gymkhana driving in there, and it also gives us a really good opportunity to put some really nice replay cameras into these, because we know exactly where the player's going to be, and we can really show them close up. A lot of the other replays that we have to replay camera positions that we have to do in Gymkhana when it's like a free ride environment, we have to be a bit further away from the car, because we can never guarantee exactly where the player's going to be. But for this challenge, we can get really close on these tricks and make sure that the car's always the main focus, and the player can see exactly what they're doing as they go.
Nice. Very modest there, Paul. You did a pretty good run there. Just talking and explaining it all. I think it was pretty flawless.
I've had a little bit of practice at this now, so I still enjoy it though. You still get that buzz out of nailing a trick. I probably would have been a bit gutted if I hadn't have done that donut quite as nicely as that. So it's always nice to nail it, get it right, and precision driving. It always is so rewarding to get these things right. So
there's
great.
There's also the scope to set up your own Gymkhana runs and do a bit of freestyle in there as well, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean this environment is opened up, so you can just go around and drive around with up to 8 players, in fact, and just do tricks together. You can donut around each other, jump over one another, drift past each other, and it's really up to you to do whatever you want. We haven't really set up any challenges to try and funnel people into doing specific things when you go online. It's more about just finding your own things to do and then being able to upload that. So yeah, we're really happy with the area. I think it's a really strong place to go and drive a car. It's why we've done our party modes here as well. It's a great opportunity to just chase each other around and have a great deal of fun. So the compound is a really core element to the game, but we mustn't forget that there is a lot of rally in this game, and the rally fans are not going to be disappointed by the content that we put in here.
Sure. Is there one last area that we can look at, or is that
yeah, sure. I mean, we can actually go and perhaps do a head-to-head race, perhaps.
Sounds good.
Okay.
While it's learning, one area I want to talk to you about while it's kind of learning is the online multiplayer.
Yeah.
How have you kind of grown that over Dirt 2?
So we're really happy with the playlist style of the Pro Tour in Dirt 2. We like the fact that it keeps players in a session without them having to wait for the host to set up the next race, to press start. We're controlling the action, and it's really up to them to vote on what they do and don't want to do. And really that empowers us to make sure that we're showing the best content to the players, but it also means that really they can just focus on racing and challenging their friends and having a great time. So yeah, it's a great opportunity for us to do that, and yeah, we really like the fact that it can be done.
So still eight players online?
Yep, absolutely. We've actually got hardcore mode in there now as well, so players can go into that, and we'll turn all the OSD off. We'll put them in the head cam only. All the damage is turned up to the maximum. It's all the long tracks in the game, so long races, good, well drawn out races, and it's an opportunity for those players that are really into their sim racing to compete against one another and experience rally like really firsthand and enjoy themselves, as well as the more frivolous side where we've got the party modes and the stuff where you can just get home after you've been to the pub, just sit down, have a quick game, and then go off to bed or whatever.
And are you still looking at weekly challenges as well? That's one of the aspects I remember of Dirt 2's online. You'd get in there and there'd be a new weekly challenge. Some of them would be quite off the wall.
Because we've actually gone with more of that party mode element, we've actually scaled back on that. It was something we were looking at originally, but we felt that we wanted people to focus on the more YouTube elements and the fact that they can just get together and play the game. So it's something that we may bring back in the future, but for now we've decided to scale back on that.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about this next race that we're getting into. It's just a single head-to-head race?
Yeah, so we're going again into single race. This is head-to-head, so this is Monaco Harbour I've chosen. It's going to be a night stage, so you see fireworks and stuff going off in the background. I've chosen Sebastien Ogier's Citroën. Sebastien's one of our drivers in the game, so he's currently doing really, really well on the WRC. Really impressed with the way that he's challenging Sebastien Loeb. Finally, somebody's giving Sebastien Loeb a bit of a challenge. So, yeah, representing what I feel is the closest we've got to the spectator stages that you often see at the end of WRC events. This is a split route essentially, so drivers start at in different lanes and then they cross over halfway through, and you're essentially completing one lap of this track.
Okay. What have you done this time around in terms of handling as well? How have you improved the handling?
Yeah, so the handling of the car, we were really happy with how it was in Dirt 2, but we wanted to build on the strong physics engine that we've got. So the first thing we did was look at the suspension settings, partly because of Gymkhana, but also because we knew that there was stuff that we could do to really improve on the way that the suspension reacted to both bumps and jumps, as well as just driving hard and feeling the weight shifting from side to side in the car. So we looked at bump mapping, we looked at rebound settings. It's all quite technical terms, but what that has amounted to is it's essentially given us the opportunity to place the centre of mass more realistically in the car, and that means that the car rolls about on its suspension a bit better, and it's a more realistic feeling to the car handling. So you can now set the car up for a corner, throw it left and right before the hairpin, and use the weight to actually help you get around the corner a lot easier. So as you can see, driving this stage, it's a tarmac stage, so I'm trying not to lose traction as much as possible. I'm really just grip driving around here. But there's tight corners like this hairpin up ahead here where I'll dab the handbrake and just kick the back end out to throw that car sideways and get it around these tighter bends. This is probably our most technical head-to-head track, and as you can see in the dark, it's pretty challenging just picking your way through these narrow streets, but it's really rewarding. And as you can see, this guy, Jamie Garcia, is about to beat me, unfortunately. But yeah, it's good close racing. You often see your competitor, and we've designed these stages so that as a player you can always see what your competitor's doing. In real life, these stages are designed so that the spectators get the best view of the two cars racing against each other. Here actually you can see your opponent quite regularly as you're driving, so you're always getting that feedback of whether you're ahead, whether you're behind, and whether you need to push or not. It's worth also mentioning in this that the co-driver's throwing calls at you all the time, so he's there to help you navigate through these tight turns, because they are quite complex, some of these tracks.
In terms of the career progression, can you tell us about the sort of unlocks that you're going to get? Are you going to be able to get the new stuff for your dashboard and be able to unlock new content?
Yeah, again, we've scaled back on some of that frivolous stuff because we felt it didn't really fit with the more professional feel in Dirt 3. However, as you work your way through your career, you'll be unlocking new events, new disciplines. At the end of season 1, you're actually shown how to Gymkhana. Ken Block, shows you the ropes there. There's been a lot of talk about Ken Block perhaps talking too much in the game. He was quite happy to only get a small speaking part this time, and he is literally just teaching you about Gymkhana, and then from that point onwards, it's up to you to find your own way through the career, essentially. So we've got the 4 seasons. Within each season, there's four championships. The 4th championship in each season is the finale. That will be either an X Games event where you get multiple Rallycross and Land Rush events, or maybe a Gymkhana event thrown in there as well as these head-to-head style tracks. And then the final season of the game is the culmination of all the work that you've been doing. Every single discipline represented in there at its top level, and the final of that is the super final, where every discipline is represented. Each discipline counts towards getting into the super final, which actually takes place at this track where you can see here. So a few spoilers in there, but realistically we want players to work their way through the game, experience the world of off-road racing as we've represented it here, and I think we've made a really strong offering here. There's rallies really catered for, but we've also represented Rallycross and Gymkhana head-to-head, and even Land Rush better than we've ever represented it before. So I think the fans of the series won't feel let down that we've gone for more rally again. If they love the elements of Dirt 2, then they're going to continue to love this game. If you love rally, then you're going to love this game as well. So yeah, really happy with how it's all come together now.
Can we just quit out to the main menu to show off the menu that we were talking about?
Absolutely, sure.
Earlier on, and I'll just, we posted that you were coming in on Twitter, so I've got a couple of questions from people. The first one is from Deadman DRB, and he says, do Codemasters have any DLC plans? DLC was absent from Dirt and Dirt 2.
Yeah, we know that DLC helps elongate the lifetime of a product, and we know that fans of a series will always buy into it. So yeah, we've definitely been looking at what we can do with DLC. We've got some substantial content lined up. Can't really go into any details at this stage, but It's definitely the most DLC that we've done at Codemasters for any title that we've ever made, and we're really happy with how it's coming together now. Really excited to start making announcements about it, because we think fans will be really blown away by what we've done.
So it's coming, but watch the space.
Yeah, definitely. You've got to listen out for what we've got lined up, because there's some really strong stuff in there.
Cool. Okay. Bit of a technical question from Andy Bailey on Facebook. He says, "Will you be adding a proportional link to steering auto look left and right feature?"
We won't be, actually. That's something that we have considered, but whenever we take it into the playtest environment, we find that people find it a bit disorientating. It's very much something that you tend to have to learn to drive using that system, because having to unlearn how to drive and then learn that system again is actually quite confusing to players. So we haven't done it for this one. If there's enough requests for it, then we'll consider doing it in the future. But for now, yeah, we've just kept it away from the game. We're quite happy with how we've set up our wheel setups, and each wheel is represented, and our car handling designers actually set those wheels up for each individual preset. So if you've got a Logitech wheel, they'll have a preset for you. If you've got a Thrustmaster wheel, there'll be a preset there, again with Fanatec. So we're proud of the fact that we represent all these wheels, and really happy that we've done it.
And the high-end racing setups on the PC as well, do you support those?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you're an avid PC gamer, 6-screen setups, we're representing that. Big simulation wheels, definitely. Like if you can afford a D-Box, we'll have supported that, as you may have seen in some of the videos. So yeah, plenty for players to enjoy if they've got those high-end PCs.
So you're kind of flicking through the main menu here, which is again the Battersea power station.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll go back to square one with the menus, really. So as you come into the DiRT Tour, these are actually your seasons. We've got the compound on the left. This is where you'll practice your Gymkhana skills, and you can take part in little missions and challenges there. If I open up season 1 here, you can see that there's two championships that have been completed. They're filled out in gold. We've got the Brembo Blast on the bottom right and the Rockstar Transworld Clash. So there's still some challenges available within those. If I open up that championship, you can see each individual event in here. So as you progress through here, you'll be earning points in each of these events, and that will unlock this challenge here, and then you've got the final at the end here. So yeah, once you actually are settled on what event you want to do, so let's take this Rallycross event here, you get further information on it, what track it's going to be on, how many laps it is, how much rep you get for doing it, what classes of car are available in it, and then you go through to the team office screen. So this is where you get the opportunity to essentially choose a car and choose a livery. You can see here there's 2 Subarus available, but they're from different teams, and Oxy Motorsport here are offering a 450 rep objective bonus, whereas Fidanza are giving you a measly 100 reps. So it's really up to you. If you prefer that livery, then you can stick with Fidanza and take the rep hit. But if you want to just go for the rep, then you take the Oxy livery and you go in with their car.
Right, good stuff.
And then once you've done that, again, we're going from the team offer screen into the loading and then into the event. So again, with the car shots on the way into the event.
Is it something you're conscious of in terms of designing these front ends? Because as I say, I remember the first DiRT had a very memorable one, and then you move through to the kind of the trailer part look in this one, and there's a very distinct look again.
Yeah, we've got a fantastic UI art team, and our art director's got a really strong vision of what he wants the game to be. So those guys work together. They make sure that the front end is representative. It's always cutting edge. We want fans to enjoy going through the menus as well as playing the game. The game's probably where the game's at its strongest, but the front end doesn't necessarily need to be a dry 2D bunch of text that you've got to pick your way through. So we want people to feel immersed, whether they're in the menus or whether they're in the races.
Great stuff, Paul. Well, thanks for coming in and giving us that demo. I guess all that remains to say, when is the game out? When can people start getting their hands on it?
The game's out on May 24th, and just get in the shops and buy it, please, because we're really proud. We're really happy with the way that the game's come about and how it's looking now, and we really feel that it's a very strong offering for both rally fans out there and people that want to try out Gymkhana or just have Rallycross races with their friends.
And the platforms this time around?
Yeah, we've got it on Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 and on PC.
No Wii version this time around?
No Wii version this time around. It's all in-house development, so we've focused on the big 3 consoles because they're what we developed on in the past. Might be stuff in the future, but you'll have to wait and see what that might be.
All right, thanks very much for your time.
Cool, absolute pleasure.